I want to start with welcoming you all. Thank you for being here. It's a Monday evening. I know if you guys have been working, probably it's a long day, and then here you are trying to attend this session. So I appreciate that. And we will be going straight to talking about what we'll be doing as a part of this course. For those of you folks who have taken a course with us in the past, then you know how we conduct these trainings, online trainings. And for the rest of you folks who have not attended any online trainings with us as TrainingRite.com, I would take a quick 5 minutes to walk you through as how we conduct these trainings, and then we'll get started with today's session. So TrainingRite basically offers online classes for software testing courses, and we have been in the industry for about a good 5 to 6 years now. And I would appreciate if you have a minute to go and take a look at the website and see the different courses that we offer. This particular session is about SoapUI. So the way we will be conducting this course, I will be talking about the SoapUI schedule, but the same gets applied to any other course that we provide training here. So this particular course is going to run for 4 weeks. So if we are starting today, October 5th, it's going to be a Monday, Wednesday session. It's going to be running for next 4 weeks. So every Monday and Wednesday we will be meeting for 2 hours. Each session will cover, except today's session, which is going to be a sort of a mix of theory and I will be showing you some hands-on stuff. But the following 7 lectures after today will be completely hands-on. So what are you going to be taking away from this course? When you're done with this course, fast forward 4 weeks, you will be learning a significant amount of automation testing of web services. You will not only be knowing what are the different types of web services that are available and being used in the industry today in the year 2015, but you will also be knowing as how we can go about testing it. There are multiple tools out there that can help you with automation testing of web services. SoapUI happens to be the most popular tool that is out there today. So we will be covering this particular tool. Now, the amount of stuff that we're going to be covering as a part of this course is going to be pretty significant. I'm not going to be reading bullet by bullet as what we're going to be doing as a part of this course, but it's pretty intense, meaning that we will be covering so much in this course that you can pretty much call yourself as if you follow everything that we ask you to do. And there are going to be 8 exercises. There are going to be 8 assignments. And if you complete those 8 assignments, you can put yourself into a category of intermediate to almost like an advanced level of automation tester, meaning you will be able to pass, not only pass interview, and being able to answer almost any possible question they might ask you in the interviews, but you will be productive right on day 1. What does that mean? That means that you will have a pretty hefty salary to take away if you decide to go for SoapUI. So let me do a simple search in here. South Salem, New York. I don't know where that is. SoapUI. So if we do a search for SoapUI as the keyword and look at the amount of jobs that are available, there is a huge demand and need for the SoapUI guys. Now, I have been providing this training for a little over 5 years, and the average number of students that attend every batch is about a dozen to 15. And for easy math, let's keep it as 10, so that we are able to do some quick calculations. Out of 10, majority of the times we have 7 to 8 people they get placed. Now, that might beg the question as what happens to the other two. The other two will not get any positions only because these are the two folks who have not completed those assignments. If you complete the assignments, it's a guaranteed placement and positions for you, only because there are huge amount of openings for those folks who happen to know as how to do this automation testing. So the going rate right now for SoapUI testers, and it can be in any part of the country. As you can see, there are jobs in New York, and there are jobs in Illinois, there are jobs in Ohio, there are jobs in Denver, Colorado, there are jobs in Chicago, Illinois, California, Nebraska, right? So many jobs, Dallas, Texas. Now, the going rate right now for the SoapUI is, again, if you happen to be on the East Coast or the West Coast, East Coast being New York, Connecticut, Boston, New Jersey, this area. West Coast is your San Francisco, LA, even Seattle, Washington. I think the going rate in that area is somewhere between $58 per hour to $65 per hour, right? That's what, and I'm again, I don't want to exaggerate the numbers. I use pretty conservative numbers. I will not be surprised if you find yourself working in SoapUI and drawing about $65 per hour as well. So there is a big potential for you to get absorbed and get placed immediately after you finish this training. Once again, the criteria being you should be able to complete those 8 assignments. So there are 8 sessions, 8 assignments. That's exactly what you are supposed to be doing. Okay, now the topics that we are going to be covering again they are listed here. So if you want me to give you an idea of how difficult or how easy this course is, if you have done any automation testing in the past, doesn't matter, Selenium or QTP, UFT, or any other tool that you would have done in the past. And if you find that easy enough, then this is going to be almost similar, meaning the experience is going to be pretty much like a walk in the park, easy peasy stuff, right? If you have done any automation in the past. If you have not done any automation in the past, and if you don't come from IT background, meaning that if you don't know programming, or if you don't have any idea of programming at all, again, if you have attended a course with me, you might have noticed the way I try to impart this training. The transfer of knowledge is going to be pretty smoothly done, meaning I'm not going to be discussing about something that is not really needed from the industry perspective. So you will be given enough of this that you should be able to pick it up and then be able to do good as a part of learning of the SoapUI. So programming, there will be programming, but the programming is going to come around day 4. Unlike other courses where you might see the programming come a little sooner, here it might come probably in a tail end of day 3 or day 4. So because of the tool that we are going to be using. There are basically many tools that you could be using for web service testing. Even UFT QTP will be able to do a web service testing. But this course is totally about SoapUI. The new name for SoapUI is Ready API, right? Ready API testing tool. So I will take you to the website from where we are going to be downloading this tool. So let me go to the website. You can bring up any of your browser and you can go to this website, which is SoapUI.org. When you do SoapUI.org, this is the name of the company is Smart Bear, and SoapUI is one of the tools. What does this tool does? It helps you to test web services. Now we have no idea of what a web service is so far, right? That's fine. I'll be walking you through everything about a web service. Right now, I'm talking to you about the tool that we should be downloading. So there are two different versions of the tool. There is an open source tool, which is a free tool, and then there is a license-based tool. So if you scroll down a little bit here, you notice that there is a SoapUI open source tool, and then there is a SoapUI Pro, new generation Pro, SoapUI NG Pro. So I will be covering both of this. Now, the difference between the two, today is not necessarily the day to talk about the differences between the two when we don't even know what these tools stand for and what they are capable of doing. But one feature that I would like to highlight today, and that is the difference is with the Pro version, chances are you don't really need to know much of programming, right? Because everything can be handled if you know the Pro version, if you download Pro version, and if you use Pro version, anything and everything, majority of the stuff can be handled without writing any code, right? But my way of teaching is I will not make you dependent on the tool. So what I will do is I will teach you both. So while learning the non-pro version, while learning the the open source, we have to be doing some programming. And the programming is, in case of Selenium, we will be using a language called Java. In case of QTP or UFT, we will be using a language called VB script. In case of SoapUI, we will be using a language called Groovy, right? Okay, now you may ask, what exactly is the difference between these things? I will answer in a very weird way. I would answer that that simple question. I would say that, let's say you're learning to drive, right? And you are learning in a car. Let's say it's a Toyota Camry, right? Now, is Toyota Camry the only car available on the road? There are 20 other different cars. You have Honda, you have Mercedes, you have BMW, you have Acura, you have Fiat, you have God knows what, right? Now, do you have to sit in every car and learn that car, or it's okay for you to just learn it in one car? The answer is, if you learn it in one car, chances are the other car you should be able to, handle the other car. The same goes with the programming as well. If you know programming, let's say Java programming, learning Groovy programming is not going to be ridiculously insane, right? It is minor changes here and there. So one big aspect of learning to program is the ability to know what basically we need to be learning as a part of programming. So why are we even discussing if we are testers? Testers, they don't do of course testers, they do programming if they are automated testers. So as an automated tester, you're not comparing yourself to let's say a programmer or a developer, but you should be knowing these 5 things. What 5 things you should be knowing? You should be knowing about everything about, let's say, what variables are. So if I take you and talk to you about what are those 5 things, first things first, you should be knowing about variables, and you should be knowing about functions, right? What are functions? You should be knowing about, let's say, conditional logic, right? Conditional logic is the ability to know as how to write if statements. If something is true, then if this is true, then you would like to do few things in here, else you want to do things in here. So variables, functions, conditional logic, and the other thing is you got to be knowing about writing loops, right? Basically, you should be knowing about what is a for loop. When you need to do something repeatedly for n number of times, then you got to be using what is called a for loop. So that's that. Number 5 is having a little idea of object-oriented programming. Now, for those of you folks who are brand new to programming, meaning that they have not done any programming, you probably are a little bit overwhelmed when you see these topics. You say that, what is he talking about? Object-oriented programming. I have absolutely no idea of what is object-oriented. Of course, if you had an idea about it, then you would not be here, right? Because you are here because you want to learn about it, right? And that is the objective. That's the goal. So together we will be pursuing, these things that I have listed out. We will be learning that, and the language that we'll be using to do that is Groovy. So understand Groovy as a distant cousin of Java, meaning that they are not exactly the same, right? But then they would almost become like twins. So they are not even brothers or sisters. They're not even siblings. They are cousins, meaning that main things will be similar, but then there will be dissimilarities between Java and Groovy, and that's basically what we will be learning as a part of this course. All right. There is a question here. What is SOAP API, and is that different? What is SOAP and API? Is that different? Well, let me, Abdallah, basically what it is I will, the whole 2 hours is about that, what the question that you have asked, but very quickly I will answer you. SoapUI is a tool, right? It's a tool. It's a tool from a company called Smart Bear, right? Like Microsoft Word is a tool from a company called Microsoft, right? Word or Excel, these are tools from companies from Microsoft. Like SoapUI is a tool from Smart Bear. So what does SoapUI it does? It helps in testing web services. So now the bigger question is, what is a web service? What is a web service? And we have to have some good, decent understanding of what is a web service and how we can test this web service. So I will get into what is a web service in a couple of minutes. Let me quickly go and then download the tool so that we can quickly take a look at the difference between the 2 tools in terms of which one we will be downloading, how we will be downloading, how we will be installing. So let me just handle that part, and then I will come back, and then I'll also be discussing about not only SoapUI but Ready API, right? Ready API. So for some of you here who are QTP automation testers or automated engineers, you know that what's the difference between QTP and UFT? I mean, they both come from the same company. They are both pretty much the same product. This is the older version. They are no longer calling it QTP. They are calling it UFT right now. But under the hood, basically they do the same thing. So UFT is the newer version of QTP. Likewise, Ready API is the newer version of the SoapUI. Under the hood, They both do the same thing, which is testing web services, but this is the newer version of that, and this is kind of like the older version of it. So both of them, they test the web services. Now let us go and talk a little bit about these things first, and then come back and then do some web service testing. So if you take a look in here, this is the non-pro version, and this is the pro version, right? Pro version will there's a trial offer available for you to use it for 15 days. After 15 days, this trial is going to expire. But this SoapUI non-pro version, which is the open source, is going to run forever. Right? Okay, so let's download this first, and then download that first, then later, and then let's talk a little bit about it. So this SoapUI, this gets installed on different operating systems. So depending on which operating system you have, whether you have a 64-bit or a 32-bit, that version should be installed. Now, how can you check what do you got? Do you have Linux, or you have Mac, you have Windows, you have, operating system you already know as how to test it, but let's go and take a look between the 32 and the 64. So for that, I will go from start to control panel. What I'm trying to do right now is check if I have a 32-bit operating system or a 64-bit operating system. So start to control panel. And as you can see, I can go with the large icons. And over here, if you look at the system, right? If you look at the system, let me click on the system. This will tell me what do I got. So bear with me for a second here. Yeah. So if you see here, this will tell you that you have a 64-bit operating system, right? I have a Windows 7 Professional and with the Service Pack 1, and this is a 64-bit operating system and 8 gigs of RAM. That's what I got. All right. Okay, very good. So now that we have an idea of what I have, let us go and then download the 64-bit. So Windows installer 64-bit, which one is it? This is the free one. This is the pro one. So we'll do both. So let's download the free one here. So when you do that, this is SoapUI 64 5.2.1. 5.2.1 is the version, right? So I'm gonna let it download, and as you can see, it's gonna take like few seconds, and then it gets downloaded. So here we go. We have downloaded it. So I right-click on that, open the folder, and I'm gonna take this, right? Cut from here on my C drive. As you can see, I'm almost running out of. On my C drive, I have created a folder called SoapUI Training. I've created a folder called SoapUI Training, and I would prefer you do the same. So in SoapUI folder, right, I have created some folders in here. So there is a folder called SoapUI Software, right? I created that folder. So inside, I will paste this. And as you might have seen, somewhere in February, when I downloaded it, when I showed it to my previous class, it was version 5.0. Now it is SoapUI 5.2.1, right? So that means that in a span of like 6 months, 8 months, they have bumped it up by 0.2.1. All right. Okay, so let's go through the installation of this. This is again a non-pro. So you double click on it. It is very simple. The whole thing is, for me to say it, probably you would get offended when I say it, because you might not agree with me today. But if you revisit this video 4 weeks from now, you will pretty much be saying the same thing. SoapUI is ridiculously easy. It is very easy. Very easy. In about 4 weeks, you will be a master of this. You will be a master of this. Everyone in your company is gonna be looking up to you to see what had happened in this past 4 weeks. I mean, he or she is a totally different person now. I mean, 4 weeks back, they had no idea of how to do this testing, and all of a sudden, he's not only or she's not only knowing everything, but she's able to teach this, and that's exactly what is going to happen to you in the next 4 weeks. Transfer of knowledge is the objective. I will make sure I will beat you to submission to learn it, not literally. Of course, if you agree to follow what I tell you to do. So basically, if I tell you to do certain things, you do it, and then you would learn it. So we are installing it. Take a look at the way this is getting installed. Okay, so you accept the license, click next. This is going to be get installed into your C drive, program files, SmartBear. So if I take you to C drive, right? If I take you to C drive, program files, this is listed in alphabetical order. So MNOPQRS. So there is no SmartBear, right? So coming over here, when I continue with it, right, it should be able to install it. So as you can see, for now, just take everything, whatever you have, just take everything, hit next and accept the license. And as you can see, as I was talking about, it's going to create a shortcut in the start menu, which is going to be here. It'll put something up here, and it'll create a icon in the desktop, which is going to be your desktop here. Right now, as you can see, there is not, right, but it is going to put that. And as you are seeing it, it takes what, maybe about a minute or two for it to get installed. That's all. Again, that depends from computer to computer. My computer is I don't want to jinx myself. It's a little bit a faster machine, so probably would take about like a good 2 minutes for it to get installed. So again, what are we doing here? We are installing the non-pro version of the tool, right? And the whole objective or the reason for me to do it in front of your eyes is to show you that how easy it is to install. Just click, 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 it gets installed. All right. Okay. Likewise, for the non-pro, which is the license based, if you can buy the tool, I mean, that will be the best case scenario, that you just go ahead and then purchase the tool, the pro version. But if you cannot, or if you are auditing it right now and you don't see a need for it, that's fine. You can download the what's it called, the pro version of it, and you don't have to pay much. So for that, you will come in here and you will do that, and they want you to fill up some information here, and then they will send you the license of it in your email. Now, again, it's totally up to you. If you want to enter your information, because they might solicit you, they might call you to purchase this. So if you don't want to, be bothered, then it's up to you. So this is what I am going to put in there. Hang on. So of course you would be putting your information. I would just use that, right? Uganda, United States. I will use New York, and okay, so what this is going to do, and I want you to look into it, what this is going to do is, it is helping me to download the software, but they will tie the license to this email, and then they will prepare the executable for me to download along with the license embedded into it. embedded into it, right? So that's important to know that that's what is going to happen. So right now I'm signing up for the Pro version, right? So the Pro version is going to last for about a good 14 days. And we're going to talk about later on, probably in the second class, I'll discuss a few more things about it. Right now, this is what it's going to happen. It's going to download. So here I go, and it is going to download. This is, see here, see this R69 and some weird crazy numbers in here. That's the license key embedded into this software. So I don't have to do anything right now. If I just download, the license is already installed. So here I go, I will just download. So while it is getting downloaded, I'm just going to go back and take a look into the non-pro, right, or the open source version of it. So view the release notes. Let's do that. So let's take a look. They're talking a little bit about the version of it. 5.2 is what it is, and it was released on the July 2nd of this year, and what it does and whatnot. It has everything to do with JSON, and we'll be talking about that. So they're saying that, do you want to improve the software by letting them know what you are doing and whatnot? I would go with no. Probably if you want to go with yes, that's up to you. Okay, so this is how the tool is going to look for or look as, and if you want to get their promotions and all that, you should enter your name and your email address. They will send it to you. I am just going to skip that. And the tool will be talking over the internet. So you have to give permission for the firewall. So I will say allow. Okay, here we are, right? So this is the tool. This is the open source tool. Now we gotta, in this next 8 classes, I will be showing you, we will be living here, right? And we will be knowing a lot of all of these things in here in the next 8 classes. That's basically what we'll be doing. So I just wanted to make sure that the tool is installed. This is how the tool gets installed, right? So I showed it to you. Now I can get out of that, right? And let's see where we are with the Pro version. So Pro version is also, this is the Pro version. It's also downloaded. I'm going to cut it from here. And I will go into my SoapUI and in my software, and I paste it there, right? Okay. So as you can see, this little green and blue, not that, you have to remember it by the colors, but yeah, I don't know if you can see, this is S as in soap, this is R as in ready API. So the Pro version is referred to as the ready API. So on a machine, interview question, on a machine, can we have both the Pro version and non-Pro version on a single machine? Well, the answer is right now I will install the Pro version as well. So that means that the answer is yes, you can have both, right? So this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be installing the Pro version. So when you install the Pro version, the Pro version might take a few extra minutes to get installed because there is a lot is happening behind the scenes, but it's not anything different when it comes to the installation. Again, you're accepting the license, you're moving ahead. Now it says that, do you want a full installation or a custom installation? Let's go with the full installation. Custom installation allows you to select what you want to have and what you don't want to. I want to show you everything, so I'll go with the full installation and hit next. Okay, accept the license for that and hit next. Now it is beginning to install. So both the versions, non-Pro as well as the Pro versions, are getting installed on this machine right now. All right. Okay. So once it is done, we are running it. Run ready API. What is the version of it? 1.4.1. The non-Pro was 5.2.1. This is 1.4.1 because it's the ready API. It's the ready API. So the ready API is a newer version, so 1.4.1, and SoapUI is the older one, so that's why it went up to 5, and this ready API is still in the newer so 1.4.1. So let us run it. So this is how it's going to look like, sort of like with an R square, and then it is going to open it. So this is going to show you how easy the installation is. Now that we know that the tool has been installed on our machine, now we can go ahead and then we can talk about the web services. What is a web service, and how this tool will be able to be utilized to do some testing. Now, before you get out, today's session is free, so I don't, you can attend, you can ask as many questions you want. But the next class, which will be on Wednesday, I will be sending the links to only those who will be purchasing or who had already purchased. All right. So after the session, if you need to purchase this course, you can go basically to our website, TrainingRite.com. As you can see, you can go to TrainingRite.com. Under TrainingRite.com, you can look at the course, and this is here. You can go and then you can purchase it. If you want to be in the class like what we are doing, this is going to cost you $3.99. If you just get the videos, it's going to be $2.99. What is the difference between the two? The difference is I will be teaching you in this, right? You are here like you are today, and you can be asking me any number of questions. I will ask you questions, you will ask me questions. We'll make it interactive. I'll give you assignments, you submit the assignments, I check the assignments. If I find something wrong with your assignments, I will guide you. I'll say that this is wrong, that is right. Videos is basically nothing like that. Videos is still the videos from my previous batches that I will give it to you, but we are not dealing with your assignments, whether you do it or you don't do it. It won't, I don't have to deal with that. And if you have any questions, you will be using our forum to ask those questions. So that brings us to the topic of how can you interact with us. You can interact with us in two ways. Right now, all of you who are here in this session, you can talk to me, right? I have muted you. Your microphones are like shut off by me, but I can always unmute you, and then you can talk to me. Now, I don't want to unmute you unless you have a question. So how can you tell me you have a question? Either you could type it in the chat window, or you could click on that little icon, right? Like a palm, like a raising a hand, and you're right next to your name. It is going to flash, so I know that, okay, Shweta probably would have a question, and I will unmute Shweta and she can ask me. Or Tim might have a question, I will unmute him and he might be able to, if there is a question, he would be able to ask me. So that's how basically we will be interacting. If for whatever reason sometimes people, they don't want to talk, so that's fine. You can still ask your questions by typing. So you type it in the chat window, whatever question you have. Let's say I'm saying something in here in the chat window. I'll say that you will have 8 assignments in this course, and each assignment should be submitted to this email address, right? And email address is trainingrite@gmail.com. Okay, so as I typed it and as I am sending it, so you all can take a look what I'm saying. So if you have any question, you can type, and I will be able to read it, and I will be able to answer it. So that is while we are in this session. All right, let's say this session is going to conclude, let's say in an hour and 15 minutes from now, this session will be concluded, right? And you at that time, you remember, like maybe at 1 in the morning. I don't know why in the world you would be remembering something at 1 in the morning and you want to ask me that question, but if you want to, you can do that. How can you ask? Please go to the groups. So you have to be logged in to your Gmail account. So let's say you're logged into the Gmail account, and let's say you go to groups.SoapUI groups.google.com, right? If you go to groups.google.com, if you have already paid for this course, you will be seeing SoapUI Web Service Testing, this group. You will be seeing this group. So you go inside the group, right? You go inside the group, and let's say you're looking for some help. So you would go in here and then you would search for it. Excel parameterization, right? And you hit now, as you can see, there is Groovy script to read from Excel and assertion. So if you go in here and somebody from the previous class, he's saying, I'm in an urgent need to parameterize of data from Excel to pass and request and also do some assertions. I tried many codes. I'm keeping on getting on right? So then there is some response. So I said the code to parameterization should be in Google Group. Look for it. If you still cannot find it, I'll give it to you. And then he started looking into it, and somebody else is guiding him. So this is basically the code. He looked for it. Now you would be, when you look into this code, you're like, oh, what is this? This is too much. I cannot handle it. This is a lot of programming. No, don't worry about that. Simple. I will hold your hand and I will walk you through, right? Take you and walk you through every little detail, and then that is it. That is it. You will do some assignments. You will put it in your flash drive, and then you will go any project, and then you copy paste. And because the code that I will be showing you is a totally reusable code. What do you mean by reusable code? You should be able to copy paste and make some minor modifications to it. Like what? Maybe your Excel file is not in D drive, and you might have not named it as input data. So that you have to change. But the rest of the stuff, like whatever you're seeing in here, is going to be pretty much the same. And your web service will be something different, so you might have to change that. So the takeaway from this course is a lot of code groovy scripting, right? That groovy scripting, when you go to a project, you can just copy paste and you would be shining like a superstar at work, right? Because people would take like days to do it, and then you would be finishing it off in like few hours, right? Because why? Because you have done it here, right? Again, I repeat and I keep repeating the fact that assignments are critical to your learning. If you ignore assignments, then forget about it. All bets are off. I will not guarantee you anything, because you are just coming here, you're having some fun with me, and then you watch, and then you leave, and then that's it. If you're not putting your efforts into it, you're not going to gain much. So assignments are very critical, and assignments is a serious investment you are putting in, because this, you will reap the benefits of it once you are working on a project, because copy paste, boom, 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 things are working. So with that, let us go back and talk about some web service testing. Before I do some web service testing, any questions or anything so far? Anything you would like to ask me, discuss with me, talk to me? Today is like meet and greet kind of a day. I mean, getting to know one another, right? So you ask me whatever is bothering you. There's nothing off the limit. So you can ask anything you want to, right? If you don't have any questions, I will continue, and I will talk a little bit about web services. So the next 10, 15, 20 minutes are going to be a little bit theory, and it is important. It usually happens on day one, because I have to lay out the plot. I got to share with you as what exactly is the architecture, that you should be aware of, and stuff like that. So here Tim says we will be using the pro version or the both, Tim. I want to make you very, very confident when you get out of this course. I don't want you to be handicapped. I don't want you to be dependent on something. So you will be a master when you get out. So I will be teaching you both the pro as well as the non-pro. A non-pro is a pain in the butt. It's a pain in the butt, meaning that is a lot of stuff that you need to know. So be it. I will share it with you. We will go through that little pain in this course here. You would find yourself bleeding. That's okay. It's again, if you have taken a course with me in the past, then you know that some of the things I'm repeating. It's okay to bleed here right now rather than suffer when you are in the project. So we will be working with both. Should I be downloading the pro version then? Don't rush into the pro version yet, right? I mean, if not today, you would be downloading after today, because in the second class I will be using the pro version anyhow. So not a problem. You can download. Abdullah, you said with SoapUI can we test both RESTful service? Yes, sir. With that we can do both. And I was going to talk about those things right now. So let me. Ali, you have a question, so I will unmute you because you have raised your hand. Go. Ali, I have unmuted you. If you have
This is little advanced topic question. Actually, this is in reference to the REST. EST. I was looking at this requirements in SOAP UI, and most of the requirements they're asking about the uh, REST REST. So I was just a little curious what exactly is that. I have seen in your table content as well. So
half of the course, and thank you for that good question. In fact, I was waiting for somebody to ask me that question, so I appreciate that you asked that. So here's the deal, and I will mute you back and let me do some explanation, and then later on I would ask you if I had answered your question. So let me mute you back right now and try to explain. So the question Ali had was. He's noticing a lot of requirements for the REST services, R-E-S-T, REST services, and he also noticed that in my course contents, we will be discussing about REST. Um, okay, web service, right? And we don't even know what is a web service so far, right? But web services, they come as XML based, right? Also referred to as SOAP Web Services. And then the other one is REST Web Services, right? And these are usually JSON based, right? JSON based. Okay. Now, these are on day one. These are pretty strong vocabulary here when I mention XML, JSON, REST, and this and that. Just so that you know, um, one web service, right? This type of web services were extremely popular from the year 1998 to the year 2009, right? And even today they are being used, right? But they are not as hugely popular as these are. From the year 2009 onwards, right? Till date, right? So these are very popular, very highly desired architecture. Even though there is a choice when it comes to web services, you can have XML or REST based, but today they are using REST. So how much of each we will be covering? I will be covering, let's say, 50% of this, and I will be covering, let's say, 50% of this, right? Okay. Now, after I cover 50% of this, to cover 50% of this XML-based web services, I might take a good 4 days, right? To cover the 50% of this REST services, I will take only 2 days. So you would say REST is so popular and everyone is looking for it. How come you're doing only 2 days? The reason for that is after learning 4 days of this XML, REST becomes so easy that my job is cut down into half. I'm not cutting any corners. I'm not like saying that, okay, I'm covering this less. No, but because you will be so comfortable understanding the concepts and all that, that the same thing which I have to teach for REST, you will be understanding much faster, much sooner. So the same thing can be done in 2 days, right? Okay. Notice I said up to 2009 they were popular. Even today they are popular. They are popular, but not as popular as the REST services. So what happened in the year 2000? Something happened in the year 2009, right? What happened? What happened in the 2009 was basically Apple came out with iPhone, right? And that literally changed the complete way of doing business when it comes to web services. Now XML based web services were going just fine, and then with a huge demand from smartphones arising in the year 2009, this XML based web services were sort of like they took a back seat and REST came in the front. And since then, REST is being used, not that these are not used, but REST is being used more often. All right. Okay. So we just have an idea that these are two different types of web services. Now that brings us to the most important question, that is, what the heck is a web service? What is a web service, right? So let me talk a little bit about what is a web service first, right? And then we will come back and try to distinguish between the XML web services and the REST web services. All right. Okay. What is a web service? I'm not going to go with a technical definition of what is a web service, right? If you're looking for a technical definition, you can go to Wikipedia, you could go to Google and what is a web service, and you can find the technical definition. My way of handling and understanding things is bring it down to a level that literally a 6-year-old, a 7-year-old kid should be able to. I mean, I'm not trying to offend any one of you by comparing you with a 6 or 7-year-old kid, but my intention is we should not get bogged down with the technical definitions of what this is, and the whole idea of getting together to understand this is not to get bogged down with the technical definition, but to learn it in such a way that we have strong foundation of what is happening and how to do it. So with that, I will start to tell you some stories now, and these stories are important only because you will have to understand the architecture, right, of what is a web service. Okay, so that today businesses, they cannot be working in a standalone environment. You have to work, right, with one another. All right. So let's talk about a scenario wherein you have information to be shared between two businesses. Right now, I can give you at least 20 examples of which two businesses would be sharing information, right? I can give you, and I can go with different domains, right? Different, businesses, whether it is healthcare, we talk about, whether we talk about, finance, we talk about stock exchange, we talk about telecom, we talk about retail, we talk about anything. So, there is a need for businesses to communicate, right? So I'm going to keep it a little bit generic first, right? And then we will try to fill in the blank with some specific businesses there. So let's say there is a business, right? And we are calling them as system A, right? And then there is another business here, and that is your system B, right? Okay, system A has got hundreds of employees and handling different tasks and doing whatever is needed for this business. System B also have hundreds of employees doing whatever they need to do. Now, what if I need to pass some data from system A to system B, if I need to pass some data, if I need to send some data from system A, and they can be anywhere geographically located. This can be United States, this can be USA, and this can be Europe, or this can be a particular city in USA, this can be another city. So we are not talking about the proximity, in the physical, keeping the physical distance, because as long as they are on planet Earth, and each system has got what, an identification. Systems are identified, right? On the internet, the systems are identified using TCP/IP addresses, right? If human beings in United States, we are identified with our social security numbers, right? We all have a unique social security number, right? Like 555 55 5555, right? So 324, right? So like that, TCP/IP addresses, they also have a certain format, right? So there will be like 216.192.38.164, right? So that 4 octets, right? So if you see, so the idea here is, anywhere in the world, when you have a system, that system can be identified with an TCP/IP address. The TCP/IP address has to be anywhere between, and I'm not going to go into the details of, they can be classified as class A, class A, class B, class C TCP/IP addresses. And the difference here is how you come up with this. They can go from anywhere from 0 to 255, 0 to 255, 0 to 255, and 0 to 255. So depending on what numbers you use in here, it falls into class A, B, and C. So this system will have an IP address, TCP/IP address. This system will have an TCP/IP address. And when you need to share the information, you need to either know the TCP/IP address, or you need to know something called the URL. Right? So if you know the URL, which is nothing but the domain name or the server name and all that. So if you know that, you can exchange the information. What information are you going to exchange? Now, I can be specific now, right? So let's say system A is a portal, right? System A is a portal. What kind of portal it is? Let's say this is hotwire.com, hotwire.com, right? Or it is priceline.com, right? So what's the business model of these broker portals? These are brokers. Brokers, they do not retain the inventory, right? Meaning that if Hotwire is selling plane tickets, they don't own planes, right? They don't, forget about owning planes. They don't even own, the tickets. They don't buy the tickets from any of the airlines. What they are doing is they're acting like a broker, just passing the information from the consumer. So who do you think is the consumer? Who wants the ticket? You want the ticket. So you take your computer, and from your computer you will in the browser you will select something. So that information is basically going to Hotwire, and let's say that is, you are searching for a plane ticket to go to California, and so you enter some criteria, and then what they show in here is 15 different flights, right? And if you're like me, I mean, I don't know about you, but I basically look for the cheapest flight. right? And based on that, I will basically go ahead and then purchase that. Once you purchase that, right, now that information I'm purchasing from Hotwire, but that ticket that I'm purchasing is for, let's say, Delta, right? So somehow Hotwire has to pass that information, that it's me, my name and date of travel from what airport to what airport, and when is my traveling, when am I returning, how many passengers, all that information, it needs to send it to Delta. Correct? It needs to send it to Delta. So I am showing you, so system B, let's say, is the Delta airline, right? So their system, Delta airline system. So system A is Hotwire or Priceline. I booked a ticket with them. Now they have to send some information. So when they are sending the information has to be packaged, right, and send across, right? Send across. So when the information is sending across to the other side, that information must be packaged as XML, right? XML. And we don't know anything about XML so far. Don't worry about that. But that information is going as XML to the system B. So the system B, what it does, it looks at that XML information, which is the name of the customer, and then when is he going, or name of the passenger, when is he going, which airport to what airport, and all that. And then system B, being Delta, will send back what do you expect? That ticket number or the confirmation and stuff like that. So there is a need. Do you understand that in today's time there is a need to move information, to share information, to send information back and forth? So one system will send some information, the other system will receive it, and then they will send it back, right? So the information is flowing between the two systems, right? So now these two systems are sort of like connected to one another. These two systems are connected to one another, because whenever you have a new order, this system A has to send it to system B. Now at any given time, these are not the only two systems that are connected. Do you think Hotwire is connected only to Delta? No, because if Hotwire is showing the inventory or showing, let's say, American Airlines as a choice, and if they are showing United as a choice or US Airways as a choice, then it better be connected. The same scenario should be the case, right? So it'll be doing it with another system, and this another system could be for American Airlines, it can be for US Airlines, it can be for United, it can be for, fill in the blank, right? So that means that when you know as how to connect and make these two systems talk, then you can have n number of systems you could be connecting, right? Okay, so to programmatically make these two systems talk, right? These are applications. This is one application from a developer's point of view. This is one application, this is another application, right? So you are making these two applications talk. So the way the two applications they talk is using API, application programming interface, right? So this web service, in another words, is nothing but the API. So the API is the interface between the systems. Programmatically, applications are being interfaced with one another, right? So by you connecting, or in layman's word, you are connecting two systems. In order to connect two systems, you have to have the APIs, right? So two APIs being connected from one system to the other system. When you have the API integration, when the APIs are connected, what are you doing? You are basically sharing, right? You are sharing, or your data is being sent and received. Your data is being sent and received. Some data is going from here, whatever that data is, and some data is being sent back from the server. So in case of an API, in case of an web service testing, right, APIs you have application programming interface, right, between the two systems, and you would be basically be interacting, or you would be testing the APIs between the systems. All right. Okay. With that, let me continue to talk a little bit more here, right? And feel free to jump in if you have any questions at any time. Feel free to jump in. Okay. So now that you understood that two systems, they need to communicate, and there's a need for that, and that's how, using the APIs, they are going to be sharing the data. Okay, what kind of data they are going to be sharing? Okay, let me be a little bit specific here, right? So I will go with let's say American Airlines. American Airlines. All right. What is the business objective of American Airlines? Right? Simple answer to that is they want to generate some revenue. I mean, which business in the world would not want to generate revenue? I mean, as simple, as small business as mine also wants to generate revenue, right? So we can also talk a little bit later about the difference between me and American Airline in terms of how the business model looks like. But the idea here is a business is looking for to generate some revenue. A revenue can be generated by what? Selling your product or your inventory. So what is the product here of American Airlines? I mean, they have planes, right? They're not selling planes. They are selling what? Seats. They're selling seats inside a plane. So for every plane, there will be n number of, and imagine that this is a plane, right? You'd say, you suck, man, when it comes to like drawing. Yeah. So these are basically the seats. So they are selling the seats. Now, seats belong to a plane. The plane goes from one location to the other location. So in order to sell seats, American Airlines, they say that, oh, you can only sit in our plane if you buy the ticket only from American Airline website. That's not how business is done. Do you think that they can make money that way? So those days are gone of being like, okay, we have a monopoly and this is the way business today. Whatever outlet I get, I take it. So now, with the coming of the internet, there were in the year 1995, 1996, internet happened. What is internet? Internet at that time was a browser. Literally at that time, internet was a browser. So in the browser, you will have the website, and the website would be some website would be basically be offering things in here, and then when you click on that, you will take the information, and the information, that's the same thing that I'm telling you. It's going to go to American Airlines, and then you come back with some information, show it, right? So that's how between the browser and the server, the information was being sent out. Today, you're not just focusing with the browser. Today, you are using mobile devices. So you are using a phone, you're using a tablet, right? You're using a tablet, and God knows what's going to happen sometime soon in the next couple of years. You could be talking to your watch, and the watch is going to send the information. So many things could happen, right? They might, believe it or not, I mean, it's a sounded like a science fiction movie, but fast forward 20 years, they might be implanting chips in our bodies, and you might be thinking of something, and without exaggerating, there is a possibility. You and I, we know that there is a possibility that things like this can happen. But why go crazy about something that's going to happen in the next 20 years? Why not deal with something that's happening today? So the devices today can be phone, can be tablet, can be a browser going to interact with this, right? So the idea, the basic idea is to send information, share information, send information, receive information, right? Okay, now let me talk a little bit about the web service. What is a web service, right? A web service is nothing but it's some code. It's some code that a programmer had written. A programmer had written, right? Okay, now that code, programmers write some code or programs using functions, and if you know, as a automated tester what a function is. Function is nothing but, something that will do some work, To give you a silly example of what is a function, let's say the work is something like this: addition, addition. So the function will be something like this, right? If it is Java function, you would have written public void addition, and inside here you will say that, okay, I'm adding, right? So can you add just one number? To add, you need at least two numbers to add, right? At least two numbers. So let's say there is a number A and then there is a number B, and the total of that would be a number C, right? Now number A can be anything. So if you look into it, I said a web service is nothing but a function, right? So I have brought it down to something that you and I can understand. Addition is a function, subtraction is a function, right? And we know how to create this function because we know that addition is plus, subtraction is minus, multiplication is that, division is that. We know that, right? These basic things we know. So a web service is nothing but a function like that, right? So do you have to create a web service every time you have a function for a business? The answer is maybe, yes or no, because let's say anything a business does, if they want the whole world to use it, then you should create it as a web service. Web service means that it is a service that you want to offer over the web. So what is a web service? It's some code. So American Airlines, let's say they want to sell ticket, right? So there can be a function like book ticket, right? Agree that book ticket can be a function. So if they want only their agents to book their tickets, then it need not be a web service. It can be a function of American Airlines. But today they want to make it open for anyone to book a ticket. So today, now you see the need for the testers of web services. Everything you do is a web service today. Anything you do is a web service. Anything you do is a web service today, right? Every business is a web service. Now, there are a lot of things that they might not want to. Let's say they are doing a payroll paying their employee. Now, the whole world need not see it. So that is not necessarily a web service for the whole world. But booking a ticket, yeah. Change reservation, right? I'm using book reservation, let's say, is the name of the function. Change reservation, cancel reservation, right? At least these three functions. These three functions, there must not be a function for a web service. A web service can be one or more functions. So let's say American Airlines will have a web service wherein at least there are three functions. Can there be more functions? Simple question. The answer is yeah, depending on their business. The other can be, let's say, we talked about booking a reservation, changing a reservation, canceling a reservation. Let's say there is something like buying a ticket by miles, right? So you accumulated so many miles that you want to purchase by miles. So book reservation. So this book reservation, for addition to work, you must supply A and B, and they will supply you C. So for book reservation, I want one of you or whoever you can, a book reservation is a function, right? Reservation is a function. So a function is nothing but whatever task you want to do. And if you want the world to use this function, like from your phone, from your browser, from anyone, then you will put that function in a web service. So let's say whatever function we have for American Airlines, these are all web services. These are all functions inside a web service, right? Just to understand a function like a book reservation, however the developer had created this book reservation, you as a tester just guess and tell, in order to book a reservation, what do you think we have to supply to this book reservation? What do you think it takes? You know, help me out here. What do you think, if an airline reservation, if I have to book, tell me what do we have to supply? We have to give passenger name, right? Date of travel, right? Date of travel. And we have to give, let's say, origin and the destination, right? And at least these four, right? Or maybe more. Now, let's say if you send this four is not booking. This could be another one. This is search, right? Search, and in the search you can search by price, search by date, time, search by, so you are searching. So when you search, if you find something, then you want to book, and at the time of the booking you have to give the passenger name, date of this, and you have to give your credit card information, and in the credit card information you have to give the credit card number, you have to give the credit card expiration date, expiration time, this, all of these things you have to give, right? So this for a book reservation. So now step by step we will come to a conclusion what a web service is, right? So I'm making my case, so you have to bear with me for a second. So I said a business, right? I said a business. In the business now I will slightly change, is Hilton, right? Again, Hilton wants to generate revenue. They will sell what? Plane tickets? No, they will sell their rooms, right? Again, you want to book a room. You want to book a room? So book a room, right? Would be what? A part of a web. So if I have a web service, inside a web service, there will be functions, right? The developers would have created. Book a room, right? Book room, cancel room, right? Change, I don't know what you want to call it, reservation, right? So these are what? These are three functions, right? A web service can have one or more functions. From a developer's point of view, right? He's saying that web service will have one or two or more what? Functions. They call it as functions. We as testers, we should say that we should not be saying functions. Developers call them functions. We call them as, and I want you to say it loud, a web service is a collection of operations, one or more operations. So in other words, what is an operation? An operation is nothing but a function, right? Can a function, book a room is a function or an operation. Book a room, book room. Can a function, can an operation take arguments or parameters? Do you have to send some input parameters to you? Absolutely. Book a room. What? Customer or guest name. Guest name is one what? Parameter. One parameter to this function. Another one is what? Room type. Room type, right? Is another one. Third one is what? When you're booking, you need to have the date, right? So as you see, right, and we can date of booking or whatever. So as you can see, depending on the function, we can quickly go and see what these arguments are going. These are called parameters in context of what? Context of functions. For a function, these are parameters. If they are operations, because we want to call them as what? As automated testers, we want to call them as operations. So operations, there can be one or more operations inside a web service. Correct? Agree? Yeah. Operations can take operations can take what? They can take parameters, right? So each operation like this is also called as an request. Each operation is a request, and the request will have inside it one or more parameters, right? It can have, or sometimes there is no need even to pass parameters. You just call the name of the request and it will show you, right? But so let us slowly build the vocabulary here. So we said web services are nothing but these are functions, right? But this is from a developer's perspective. So understand web service is nothing but it's a collection of operations. Indirectly think them as functions, and each operation, right, each operation will have a request. A request is something that we have to send, and the request will consist of parameters. When you send book a room, when you call book a room, right, so what do you expect it to give you? A confirmation number. So you will have, in an operation, you will have a request and you will have what? Yeah, you guessed it right, a response. Request is you will be sending whatever we have to send to that operation. Response is the operation is going to send you something back. Correct? All this has to be done in XML, right? So here we come back again. In a business, there will be not one, there will be hundreds of web services. There is something of booking, right? There will be one. There will be something for let's say shipping, right? There is something for inventory, right? There is something for payroll, right? There is something for invoicing, right? So now each one can have multiple operations, right? Multiple operations. Now, if you know anyone, business doesn't matter. If you know anyone, you can, with your eyes closed, 100%, it's basically going to be the same in here, right? So it's just the module is going to be different. So I will start you pretty basic. I will start so that I can have a very strong foundation. And then as we build up in this course, I'll take more and more and more and more advanced web services that will have so many different things going on. So in the beginning, I'm going to start pretty basic. All right. Okay. So now that we know what is a web service in a very simple way, we know what it is. Web services, when they are created by developers, right, they are created on their own laptops, let's say, right, or on their desktop. So what they're going to be doing, they will take that web service and then they will deploy. They will deploy it. So what do you mean by deployment? Deployment is the web service is nothing but that code. So they'll take the code and then they will put it. Where are they going to put it? They are going to put it on a server. On a server. So developers, they would be building it on their laptop and then they will deploy it onto this server, right? Okay, so we as testers, we will connect to that server, right? Using this SoapUI tool, we'll connect to the server, and then we will test that web service. So first things first, they have to deploy it. So when you test it, when you say that everything is good, it's going to be going into production. So right now it's on either on the staging servers or on the test servers it is, and we will be testing it from there. So once they complete deployment, right, they have to give you what? A, B, and C of that web services. Now, literally ABC, then it means something. It means something. I've not used it, just like that. It means something. They have to give us the address of the web service, where they deployed it. Is it sitting on London servers? It is in Singapore? Is it in San Diego? Is it in San Francisco, in New York? Where is it, right? So they got to give you the address. Address need not be the street, number and the street name and the postal address or the mailing address. No, that's not what we are looking for. What are we looking for? What address is that? That is going to be the TCP/IP address or the URL, right? Uniform resource location, the URL of the server. That's what they have to give you. And then they have to give you something called binding and the contract information. A, B, C. They got to give you the address. Address part, you understood it. Binding and contract, we have to discuss what is binding and contract. Now, are they going to meet you in the elevator and say that, oh, go and test it there, or this is the binding? No, there is a documentation for this, and that documentation is inside this WSDL. WSDL stands for Web Service Description Language, right? So WSDL is nothing but WSDL is itself is made up of XML. What WSDL exposes is this ABC. A part, I got it. What is B and C? Okay, this is what it is. Now, I want you to help me with B and C for an operation. Operation is nothing but that function, right? We are calling it as an operation. So the function is addition. So addition, booking a room will take the date of when you're booking, what is the room type and all that. Addition will take what? Addition can be for how many numbers? You will say 2. I can always come back and I'll say, why only 2? Why not 3? Then Dan will come back and say, why 3? Why not 4? So we got to have a contract. We have to have an agreement. We have to say that this addition will take 1, 2, 3, what? This operation will take this many parameters. So there must be a contract, there must be an agreement. So what is the contract? Contract is nothing but, let's say if we have an operation, right? What kind of arguments or parameters, how many parameters we are passing so that there is an agreement. So we are saying that there are going to be 3, A, B, and C. Now, can this addition, can this do 10.5 and 14 and 9.3, right? If I do it this way, you tell me, if I say that A is an integer, B is an integer, and C is an integer. Now, will this work? Can I add 10.5, 14, and 9.3 according to this? Because right here, I'm saying that these are integers. Integers means that there is no decimal in an integer, right? So this will not work. So what we are saying is we not only need to know the contract, we also need to know the binding. Binding is if there are going to be three parameters, what is going to be the data type of the parameters, whether it is going to take a double, whether it's going to take a decimal. So all that information should be there, and all that information will be given to us in that WSDL. All right, agreed? Okay, so now if we have to talk about a transaction for a stock that we are going to sell, right? Now, you would say that, oh, I cannot do that because I have no experience in stock market. And I'll say, how does it matter? How does it matter? The idea here is you and I as testers, we need to know, I don't know how they are going to add and all that, but we know how people add, right? We know how the addition is plus. But anything else, we don't know how it is done. So we will be given some documentation. We will be told that, look, you are testing these operations. What operations? Addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Each operation, let's talk with addition. Addition will take 3 parameters, and it will return it will return one parameter. So 3 parameters it is going to take. It will be A, B, and C. A is integer, B is integer, C is double. So that way, so now they are giving us all that information, and they will tell us that operation addition will take these 3. When you supply 5 and 5 and 5, you should expect 15, right? For the multiplication, when you have 3, right, 5 and 5 and 5, you should expect 125. So they are giving us the parameters, they are giving us the expected value. We have to test now. How do we test? We need to have a tool. What is the tool? The SoapUI tool. If I told you, and if I show you today in the next 20 minutes, if I show you how to test a web service, right? Simple as addition. Now, at least you will have an idea of what it is, and then tomorrow or after tomorrow, if I start taking some complex, at least the foundation is there. So let's begin with testing a simple web service, which is the addition web service, right? Or a subtraction web service, or a, now notice I am saying addition web service, subtraction web. So you creating a web service itself is some job this poor developers they are doing. So you need not create a web service for every operation. Addition, oh, take new web service. Subtraction, oh, take new. No, you can have one web service and you can have 20 operations in it. Addition, subtraction, multiplication, this shun, that shun, everything. Right now, depending on what that business is, you could have like 100 other things. If it is a, healthcare, there's a healthcare provider, right? It's a hospital. When you go to a hospital, they have to go through, so many things to admit you, right? Now, so all that information needs to be entered into the systems, and that information should be shared between the providers and the payers. The payers are health insurance companies. So everything needs to be shared. Everything needs to be checked. So when you are entering data, that data needs to interact or needs to be sent across to who? To the other entity. The other entity can be an insurance company. The other entity can be your doctor. So today, after this HIPAA rules coming out, right, the flow of information should be done in such a way that it is not only regulated, right, meaning that it cannot be compromised. Nobody can be seeing this information unless you as a patient approve it, but it should also help in giving you the best possible support. So that is happening when that information is shared with the right resources. And who is the right parties in here? Your surgeon who needs to see it. So if you go and get your MRI done, that MRI report need not be like put into a mail and send it through a FedEx. No, all that is gone. Digital world. So all that information should be shared using these web services, using this, so everybody else. So now I can keep going and giving you 100 different examples of 100 different businesses and all that. So we are going to come back to addition, subtraction for today on day 1. And once you get that, starting from day 2, we're going to be taking some real good, intense web services, and then we will be seeing as how you can parameterize them, how you can send a lot of information, what can be received, how do you bring data from Excel, how do you write the code in group, all that we're going to be. So, but I will get you started with baby steps first. So let me start off with I have given you some idea about these things. Now, Lee, you are coming back and you're asking a question. This information is in WSDL. Now, I can parse to answer your question in a minute here. I gotta move some boxes. There are so many boxes open in here. Right? Okay. There are a lot of web services that we will be testing, right? Okay, so I'm just taking randomly, I'm taking something in here. This is a WSDL, and I'm just gonna go in here, right? paste it. And what is WSDL? Before I hit enter to show you what is WSDL, what is your understanding of WSDL? WSDL is an XML document, correct? It exposes to you the A, B, and C of a web service. Simple as that. Now, A means that where is that web service? The address. B is binding, C is contract. Binding and contract talks about the operation in terms of what kind of parameters these operations they are going to take, in terms of how many parameters, A, B, and C, 3 numbers to be added, or A, B, C, D, E, F, 5 numbers to be added, or A or B to be added. So what is the contract? What is the contract? And once we have the contract, then we are talking about the binding in terms of the data. Let's say we are sending date of travel, date of booking. If I don't specify that it is a date, maybe people would be putting some decimals in it. If you put decimals in it, then the function or the operation will not work. You have to supply the right data to the operation. Agreed? So the binding and contract is also very important. Now, if I say that, oh, this is what it is, you have to know. Now, if you see, look at this document, right? Lot of XML, lot of XML, lot of XML, so much of XML. And if I tell you that all this which you are looking at, right? Some XML, right? If I tell you that you will learn it in 5 minutes, or maybe less than 5 minutes, what are you going to tell me? You are going to say that, no, he's kind of like pushing it. Is pushing it. No, it can't. How can I learn? I don't know anything. I don't know anything. How can I learn in 5 minutes? And I will prove it to you. You can have your stopwatches ready. I can prove it to you that you could learn it in 5 minutes, because I will show you a trick. I will show you a trick. With that trick, you can take any WSDL and you can parse the WSDL just like that. Am I going to show it to you today? No. I will not show it to you today. Well, for those of you folks who have already paid for this course, you can always go back and watch the videos, and you would know that how to parse and WSDL. You could learn it literally in less than 5 minutes. Less than 5 minutes, you would learn it, because it's pretty straightforward. But for the rest of you folks, I am going to give it to you in the next class, how to parse the XML WSDL document. Now, if I go take you back into, see, these are the different courses that we provide training on. So SoapUI. So SoapUI, I will go with one of the recent batches that we did for SoapUI, which is the August batch. Right? So in the August batch, there will be 8, as you can see, there will be 8 videos. Day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Each video is about 2 hours long, right? This is 2 hours 26 minutes, right? So if I get excited, I will go crazy and I will take forever to explain you. And sometimes it's 155, 2 hour, 2 hour 8 minutes, 143, 144, right? 223 and 145. So these videos will talk to you about everything of how it is done. So if you have already paid, you can just go and watch day 1 or day 2, and you will know how to do the parsing and all that of the XML. Now, let me come back in here. So this WSDL, in 5 minutes, you will get to know as how to do it, and then you can come back and take any WSDL, and literally in 5 minutes, you will know everything about it. So if I go here, and if I do this, come back here, again, 5 minutes, right? Not more than that. So 5 minutes, you will learn that. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is fast forward a few weeks. You are done with this training. You are working for some company, because interview you passed without any issues at all. Now you are working for some company. You have to test. So what should you be asking these guys? you should be asking them for the WSDL. Once you get the WSDL, this is what you're going to be doing. You will go and let me just doesn't matter if it is the non pro or the pro version. So here is the ready API. Ready API is the pro, SoapUI is the non-pro, right? Doesn't matter. I will show it in both the cases. So let me go with the pro version first. I open it, right? And like any other tool, this tool will also have so many things to learn. So I will go, pretty slow in the beginning, and then once we have some idea of how to do things, then we will go and start talking about some intense web services. So as it opens, first things first, we're going to be looking into the tool itself, like how we should start with the tool. The objective is to test a web service. In order to test a web service, I should know what does the web service exposes. The web service consists of one or more operation. Each operation will have a request. Are you understanding it? Right? Okay. Again, web service offers you one or more operations. Each operation will have a request. Request is what? You are sending, you are requesting the execution of that function, and that function or that operation will return you with a response. The request can consist of some parameters. What parameters? Depending on the operation. Now, the operation can be book a reservation. Parameters, name of the passenger, right? Room type, king bed, queen bed, this bed, that bed, right? Or so many things, parameters. And once you send it across, it is going to go to the server, take all that data, gets executed. If the developer had created a good web service, you will come back with a response. What is a good web service? If it is an addition, it has to add. So 2 plus 3, answer is 5. Request will be 2, you have to send 2, number 2 and number 3. The response will be number 5. So if the request is about a share, right, selling of a stock, what can you be sending to that operation? The sticker symbol, Microsoft. How many shares you want to sell, right? And what is the price you want to sell? Market price, or there is a limit that, okay, when the price reaches this value you should sell, or is it like an open order that you can sell for however long it takes, or is it like limit? You say that, okay, at this point, whether it goes up or down, I want to sell. So there are many things like that, right? So let's get going right now, and then let's talk about it. So Tim asked a question. Will the WSDL contain information for the entire project or for each operation function? Good question. You are trying your best to get that information from me today, right? You got to wait for it for either you already have you already purchased it, so you can go and watch it. The short answer to that is web service, that WSDL contains the information for the web service. Now, the web service, don't compare it to a project. A web service is a standalone web service. It will expose operations. Now, depending on if you have 500 operations in the web service, that could be the whole project. So the way you are building a web service is you are providing the service. You don't want to keep all the eggs in a basket, so the web service will be a module by module. So if it is for the reservation, there will be like 5 functions for the reservations, and then for invoicing there is going to be another web service. So for shipping there is going to be another web service, or depending on the architecture of the way this should be designed, you can have everything in one one web service you could put everything. That's not how it is done. You will go, so a business will have multiple web services. Each web service will be dealing with a particular module of your business. Like invoicing would be a module, payroll would be a module. So if you want to expose such behaviors or functionality over the web to be utilized as a web service, then you build it as an operation. Okay, now we have a good 10 minutes, and let me test a web service in 10 minutes. Now, from 2 hours to, I have brought it down to the last 10 minutes to show it to you as how to test a web service. So if I'm able to show it to you in the next 10 minutes as how to test a web service, basically it's going to be this easy to test web services. All right, so here we begin. This is the tool. We go File, and here in the tool there is a hierarchy in the tool, right? There are many things in the tool. So I want to start with, inside SoapUI as a tool or a ready API as a tool, you should be knowing about these things. There is something called a workspace. Workspace is an area where you would be saving your your project. So there is workspace. Inside the workspace you will create a project, right? You will create a project. Inside the project you will have an interface, right? Inside the interface you will have what? The operations. Inside the operations you will have the request and the response. You will have request, and request will lead to response, right? So this is for today, and till the end of this course we will be dealing with workspace, project, interface, operations, request, response. Now in the next class I will be starting off with something called a test suite, right? Test case, test step. Now that's all you need to know. If you master 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 things, if you master, you'll be the master of web services. And today I will, out of 10 I am showing you the 6 today. All of this I'm showing it to you today. And if I can show it to you for an addition, subtraction, this can be for anything out there. So let's create a workspace. What is a workspace? Workspace is an area where all your projects will be residing, right? Okay, so let's create a workspace. So I'm not creating a project, I'm creating a workspace. So new workspace, new workspace. What is the name of this workspace? What project it is, what build it is, that would be the workspace, right? So let's say I am dealing with credit card processing, right? And this is build, and let me call it 10:05:15, right? Some name that I have given, right? Hit OK. This is the workspace. Hit OK. Now it is telling you, where do you want to save this workspace? Now this workspace, I want to save this workspace. Go back and C drive. Notice that I asked you to create a folder called SoapUI Training. Inside SoapUI Training, I want you to create folders like this. SoapUI Workspaces. So nothing will be there. You have to create SoapUI Workspaces. Create that folder. Inside that, we can, as you can see, I've been doing all these in the past, right? So many words. So this is a workspace that I am creating. I created that workspace. Once I create the workspace, according to my notes here, inside a workspace lives a project. That means that I got to go and create a project. So file, new project. Now there are two types of projects. There are SOAP projects, and then there are REST projects, right? So right now I will deal with SOAP project, and in one day I cannot be teaching everything in one day. So I have laid out some foundation today. On that we will be building a lot more in the next class, right? So I started off by saying that I will explain you the differences between the, but I cannot just in one day give you everything. I have to slowly but surely lay out a plot and then walk you through that. So coming back in here, so I'm creating a SOAP, right? From the WSDL definition, I'm creating a project from the WSDL definition, which is from the you should be given that WSDL document. So here is when you say that, it is asking you give a name. So let me call it credit card testing processing, credit card processing testing, right? And the WSDL. So here are some WSDLs that I want you to test, right? So many WSDLs. I'll give you these WSDLs to test, right? Once you become a paid member, you will be given. Now, for the rest of you folks who are already paid, if you go in here to your Groovy and to your groups, and if you say WSDL, right, you will see all the WSDLs in here, right? So WSDL links. See here, uh, see here all the WSDL links. So we can pick and choose any link. Now I will be dealing with some Google APIs, we'll be dealing with Twitter, we'll be dealing with Google, we'll be dealing with, but before we go there, I have to get you started. So I'm starting off with some simple. So that links, you already have access to it for the paid members. So let's come back and do some testing here. So this is the WSDL, right? This is the WSDL, and the rest of the settings, don't worry about that, just hit OK. So what we have done, we created a workspace. Now we are creating a project. Now it will spin, and it's going to come back and say that, okay, I created that credit card process testing project. You created. So you have to go to that project. See here, you got to go to the project. Once you go to the project, here is the project. And inside it, I said inside the project workspace, I showed you everything. Project, I told you. Interface, let's talk about the interface. So if you go in here and if you touch it, now I am right now, what is highlighted right now? This is highlighted. This is what it'll tell you what it is. It's a project. See that? It's a project. Now whatever you touch there, right? So as an example, I am touching now, I'm touching this one. So that's a workspace. This is a project. You touch this. When you touch it, it is what? It is an interface. So we said here inside a workspace is a project, and then you will see interface. What is inside the interface? Operations. So with that, are these operations? Let's see. Add new member. Oh, operation. Archive customer. Operation. Create customer. Operation. For sale. Operation. Now, what are these things? They're all operations. Now, what is an operation? It's a function. It will do something like addition would be doing something. So these operations, interface we look, these operations will have a request, and when you provide the parameters to that request, it will give you some response. So since we saw the operation, let's open a operation and look into the request. So going into a operation, something like sale. If I open one operation, here is the request. When you double click on the request, on the right side, it'll show you, see here, it'll show you the parameters that you have to pass. In the documentation, they will tell you that strcc will take string data type. strexp month will take string, amount will take double. So coming back in here, I'm rushing now, right? But amount will, so if you see here, this will take string. So what data we have to pass? Credit card number 41278. That's the credit card number, right? Now month, month is 12. CVV2, back of it, 285. Year, 2-digit year is 20. Amount which we are processing, $399. Now, if I, this is for the sale. Swiping a card, it's like swiping a card or entering this number. So when we enter this, developer had created the function that it will charge this amount to this card. When it charges, what do you think the response should be? If the card is right, if the expiration and if they have money and all that, it might come back and say, what do you expect? It will come back and say, oh, card is good, we processed this many dollars, right? If this is so, if the developer had created everything good, we are calling it now. We are, by running it, here is the play button. By running it, I'm sending this information to the server, These are the parameters. When I send it, I will get a response. What is the response? Here is the response. It says, sorry, right? Your transaction for the credit card number, what? Credit card number this failed, right? And let me go into XML to see that. So it says that, sorry, your transaction for the credit card number failed, right? Now it is not giving us any reason and all that. So they will tell you this is the data that they would give it to you. They say that this, we are not processing, let's say, Visa cards, but we are processing, let's say, American Express or MasterCard, let's say, goes with that, and MasterCard is that. And then if you go and run it, it should, your sale transaction for the credit card number was approved with an approval code of that, and the transaction number is that, right? So as you can see, now you would say it cannot be this easy. It cannot be that easy that you just have to supply all this information and get that. Guess what? You have in here, it's a ready-made, they have given it to you by giving you this form. They will not give you this form in the non-pro. It has to be all XML. So if it is all XML, you need to know as how to pass the data. So you have to understand as how to construct an envelope. So going back here, if you see here, going back in here, there was a reason I was drawing this as an envelope, like an envelope, and I said it is XML. So it's an envelope, and the data has to be passed in an envelope. So how do you pass the data in an envelope? So this is a SOAP envelope, right? There is a header, there's a body, and then you're passing the data. So we have to be learning as how to do that. Why? Because if you go out of this, and if you go in here, and if you open it in the non-pro, this is non-pro SoapUI, you will not have the form where you can enter it. If you go in here, if you see this, and I'll just go and create this project, and I will do this, right? And I will do that. And now notice in here, in the sale, if I go into the sale, notice that I don't have, this is XML and raw. If I go back in here, I have this form, right? Here I don't. So the only way I could run it here, the only way I could test it is if I can understand how to put it in. This is very simple, 4 or 5, you are understanding it. But if it is a huge order, how do you go about doing that? It's a huge order like this. So what do you have to put? There's an item name, item quantity, date of purchase, mode of payment, credit card number, credit card expiration, month, year, and CVV2 amount. This is an add a new order. So you have to pass all this, and there should be some expectation that is coming back. So we got to be looking into all that. So I have just laid out a plot in a very, very basic, simple way, but I have given you enough so that you can understand what's going on in here. With this promise that I will make you an expert in the next 7 classes. That's a guarantee provided you follow everything that I tell you to do in terms of assignments. So for those of you who are taking this course, the assignment that you have to complete is you will download both the pro and the non-pro. Both you will download on your machine. In the pro version, I want you to go and send me a screenshot where I am seeing this. I'm seeing this. So you can put anything when you run. I should be able to see this. Now don't show me the XML. Show me the XML in the response. In the response, show me the XML. In the request, this is the request, show me the form. Show me the form. So when you show me this, I know that he or she not only knows as how to download, how to install, they already know about the WSDL. And here is the WSDL. I'm giving you the WSDL right now for this test case. This is the WSDL for the test case, right? You got the WSDL. And if you're a paid member, you will also get the WSDLs from here. You will get the WSDLs. You will go right, type in the Google group, type WSDL links, and you will get the WSDL links. And you can click here and you can take the first one. That's the assignment, and you send me a screenshot where I need to see this. This will confirm that you have not only followed what I told you, but you have already installed both the versions, and you have created a workspace, you have created a project, and you have basically connected, and you received the interface and the operations, and then you called a request by passing this many parameters, and you got a response. All right. With that, I'm closing my shop, so I'll take your questions. Can you please tell us how you created project again? Well, it was pretty straightforward how I created. I'm gonna close this and I will do it again. So I'm not saving anything, so I'll hit no to it, and I will close this. I will go back and I will create it again. So here we go, and you have to have the WSDL. And once you have the WSDL, you will go and you will say create a new project. And we already have a workspace right now, so you need not create a workspace every time. The workspace is the area where you want to save all your projects. So we have the workspace, so we will go and save it inside that workspace. So once it opens up, we will create a project. Inside the project, you have to give the WSDL, and once you give the WSDL, you should be able to see the interface. If you see the interface, that means that the connection is good. Once the connection is good, it should expose to you the operations. And once the operations are there, operations will have requests, and you have to pass the data to the request. Simple as that. All right. Once it opens up, here it is. So I'm gonna go file, and I will say new project. And inside the new project, we can create the project from WSDL. So I hit OK. So it wants me to give the name of the WSDL. So the project name, you can call it whatever you want to. So let's say I will call it CC Proc, right? And I hit OK now. Once I hit OK, it is connecting, and CC Proc is being shown in here. And if you want to go to the project, you will go and click on this project, and then once you click on the project, it will show you your CC Proc and also from the previous one. So this is the CC Proc, and inside the CC Proc is the project. As you can see, this is the interface. That means that it got connected. So this is the interface. Interface will expose the operations. These are all the operations. And let me take you into add new order. This is the request. In add new order, these are the things. If you are using the pro version, item name, let's say, is you're buying an iPhone 6 S plus, right? Quantity, how many you're buying 2. And date of purchase. Now notice it's a date time, that means that 2015 dash, this is October dash 5th. Mode of payment, you will say that it's a voucher, right? Or maybe not a voucher. Its mode of payment is a Visa card, and the card number is 4 That's the card number. And the expiration is 12. Expiration year is 20. CVV2 is 255. Amount is $1,254.36. And I will run it. And as you can see, a new order for iPhone, new order for item iPhone 6 Plus added successfully. So if it gives you any error, now, if you say, can you show me an error? The error can be, let's say, if I exclude that, and if I go with, a large credit card number, right? And if I run it, right? See, here is the error, SOAP fault. So we'll be discussing about all of this, how to find out, how to do the assertion, and how to find out if it is a SOAP fault, what caused that SOAP fault, and all that. So we'll be covering all that. All right, so let me take your questions here. At client side, what they usually use, Ready API, SoapUI version. If you ask me, many a times you have crazy people who don't know what they are doing, but they are managers. So they will say that we don't want to invest in the tool. The tool itself is like $300-400 if you buy the tool, unlike QTP and UFT where you have to spend like $10,000. This is $400 tool. So at client side, you have to convince them to make your job a little easy to go with the pro version. But even if they go with the non-pro version, I will be teaching you both. So if you ask me what they will be using, it depends on the manager, but you have to convince them to use the pro version. Pro version is not expensive, so $400. So I think they can use the pro version. So the answer is it depends. I cannot tell you. If you come to my group, I will let you use the pro version, but everybody is not good and decent as my department is. So they would say that no, it has to be like the non-pro version. $400 per year it is, per year. So that's almost like less than $50 per month, right? Okay, let's see if you guys have any other questions. If you don't have any questions, I'm closing the shop. I will see you on Wednesday. Now, if you yeah, Shweta, you can call me in 5 minutes. Let me close it, and you can call me in 5 minutes. So once you purchase, we will set you up for the Wednesday class. All right, so we'll send you the link to come to the Wednesday class. So that's about it for today's session. I will see you back. There is a lot to be covered. As you notice, we started off by just talking about web services. There are two types of web services, XML based and REST web service. I did not do anything about REST services. I will focus on XML in the beginning, and then once we get XML, REST becomes pretty straightforward. And we have to be knowing a little bit about that WSDL document, and that's where we're going to be starting in the next class. I'll be showing you some tricks to understand everything from the WSDL document as what it is and how to parse a WSDL document. Now, there are some videos that you can always watch before you come to the class. We will share with you a bunch of videos that you should be watching before you come to the class. Even if you don't watch, that's still fine, but I would suggest it's better if you watch and come to the class. Okay, I'll let you go. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.